I was clear on what I did not want. And a light bulb went off. I was like, oh my God. We focus so much on showing the patient what they can have and what it will ideally look like. But let me ask you a question. Do you have the picture of the brick wall in your office? Do you have a picture that shows them that here's what the PFM crowns look like in the front? Boom. Simple distinction. You know who told me? Omar told me that. Omar he's not the main fancy contractor guy. He's the person that does the work. And he said one simple thing to me. He's like, if you do it this way, it's gonna look kind of like that. And if you were to take the same line in your practice and say, hey, if you do your anterior crowns with this material, it's probably going to look kind of like this. Boom. Clarity. Why? Because they know what they don't want. They know what they don't want. And here's the distinction psychologically here. And you know this, and it may be a great reminder, but people do more, to avoid the pain of what they don't want than move towards the thing they do want. Get that down. Psychologically, people do way more. They take way more action. They take way more precaution to avoid pain than to gain pleasure. And I'm like, whoa, that is a evergreen psychological principle at work with even something as minuscule and as meaningless as laying tile on a floor. Hey man, you do it this way, it's gonna look kind of like that. Oh, I looked at it. That's exactly what I don't want. I don't want that here. Boom, decision made. Decision made because now I knew what I didn't want, and I'm gonna do whatever I can to avoid the pain, you could say, of saying I don't want this and I want this. And it's the same thing with your patients. Are you giving them clarity on what you do not want it to look like? Use that on your next treatment plan. Come back here and let me know what happens. Let me know what happens. I guarantee you, once they know that the partial with the metal clasp, even though it may be less, is going to look like this versus the other one. And I think with partials, our community, we do that because it's such a dead giveaway. But we don't do it enough with cosmetic work. We don't do it enough with, different types of abutments. We just don't do it even enough with some of the intrinsic things that patients can't tell. Even a short fill on endo. They're like, look, here's what we're really good at. But if you're not really skilled with this, here's what it could turn out to be. Do you see how that root, it's not filled? And do you see how there's bacteria proliferating in that area? Huge distinction. They get it. So not only do you have to paint the picture of what they want, you have to also give them clarity on what it could look like if they do the thing that you are not suggesting, that is not effective, and what they don't want. Does that make sense? Is that a powerful distinction? How many of you use pictures of what patients do not want to sell cases that they do want? How many of you use those pictures? Start using those. Huge, 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 huge. Have your team members use them. Have one for every treatment modality. Hey, we're doing implants. This is kind of what the one that we want to show them that it's like, this is not good, right? Right? It's the same thing. You're doing veneers. It's the same thing. Hey, you could even have this conversation on subgingival margins versus, supragingival. I mean, there's so many things to make this up. And it's one small distinction that solves the decision. One small distinction that creates a decision. All right. So I want you to start using that distinction. And it was so powerful. And I was like, oh my God, epiphany. And a lot of times those epiphanies happen when someone just says, hey man, it's gonna look like this. Oh, well, I get it, dude. I totally get it. So hugely important. Show them the brick wall in your practice so they know exactly what they don't want so they can pick what they do want.